Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Corner Chasers. Today, we're doing regular maintenance on plane. Spark plugs, we've cleaned them out. Oil change, screen's good, temps are good. We didn't find any metal, any of that jazz. Two professional goofy goobers and me.
$1,900 miles. A trip like this is quite the feat in an airplane this old, so we had to do some regular maintenance to get it ready. The typical oil change, spark plug cleaning, the whole nine, just making sure everything's good to go. Although, where we were going, we needed some bigger numbers too. Quick work thanks to our incredible team, and we're pointed northward. Not too many moose around the Midwest metropolis of Chicago. We got a long ways to go. Our first stop was a small grass strip outside of Lake Geneva, Wisconsin to pick up some supplies. As close family owns and operates this strip, it was very nice to be able to give Grandma a hug as well. And then we were pointed northward once more. The goal for this night was a small grass strip outside of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Berlin Field. This place is owned and operated by a fellow named Matt Shubat, and he has some tie downs available, some trailers actually available for people passing through if you really want to live it up, but he had just enough room for a tent underneath my wing. Highly recommend stopping in here, and he also has a maintenance shop attached to the airfield. Go check him out. As the sun came up and a couple more miles slipped behind us, my devotions led me to Ezekiel 37 this morning. Wonderful story about the dry bones coming to life out of the desert. Great reminder about the restorative power of God and how he's never slack concerning his promises. As the small scattered lakes gave way into the big lake, I found it absolutely insane how Duluth has an airport in the middle of the water. Check that out if you guys have the chance. Sky Harbor Airport. As I followed the Superior coastline up, I couldn't help but think about that old song and ship, the Edmund Fitzgerald. Man, did that water ever look cold. Would not want to be that crew those 50 years ago. A quick stop for paperwork in Grand Marais, Minnesota led to a little bit of an extended stay. I'd highly recommend if you guys want to fly into Canada to doing all your paperwork in advance. But nonetheless, we're pointed towards unfamiliar territory. Although we made it to Canada that day, it was a little later than we had hoped, and the sun was getting low. This next leg was going to be the longest without fuel or other airports. So it was a great time to get some extra miles on the credit card, buy a nice meal, get a shower at the local hotel, and hit it hard the next morning. This again was the longest single leg that we had to fly. No airports available, no fuel, just 125 miles of a winding road. However, it brought us through Nipigon and Beardmore, where we had friends in both towns. The aiming point was the airport of Geraldton, the last fuel stop going north. Our airplane's fuel capacity is pretty low, and unfortunately due to Canadian regulations, they won't pump avgas into jerry cans for you. So I spent an hour underneath the airplane draining fuel out of the tanks. After a quick top off from a curious fueler, we were northbound to the end of the road, 30 miles north, Nakina, Ontario. Nakina is a small outpost town that has an airport, and its main industry is bringing supplies via air to the villages north of it. the plan was to rendezvous with that dear friend of ours from Beardmore, Rick Mish, and push north to the communities that, again, can't be reached by roads. The road stops in Nakina. Now, who is this guy that lives in the middle of nowhere, and why do we fly this far to meet up with him?
And I'm Rick.
Rick Mish is not only a dear brother and friend, but he's also the pastor of Community Baptist Church in the town of Beardmore. Him and his family have been faithfully serving in this area for the last 15 years and have started a Bible camp, a beacon of hope in these northern communities. In the past 3 years, demand has completely exceeded capacity. As we speak, Rick and his team are building a whole new property. That's the only limiting factor will be how many applications are submitted. Please pray for him and the team as they strive to open the doors for summer of 2025. With the extra passenger, we gassed up the plane and stripped it of every extra pound, turned our nose to the horizon. Our first scheduled visit was Fort Hope, a small town of 1,300 separated from the world by 110 miles of uninhabited wilderness. No roads to follow for this one, but the town stuck out like a shining star in the sea of lakes.
There she is. Fort Hope,
Ontario.
That's right.
Pastor Jimmy Waboose was our host for this trip, allowing us to stay at his Revival House of Prayer, the one church in town. And of course, got to exchange some gifts and laughs with them. Next up was some other friends, Barbara, Harriet, and their son Joel. Also, there was no shortage of gift exchanging there either. Thank you to them. Well, me and Rick are with Miss Barbara Hardy over here, taking us to visit the school and the band office. Got anything to say, Rick?
Well, I'm in the back here. As always, I take a back seat to Pete no matter what happens. No, we're just here in town in Fort Hope, Ontario, enjoying our stay. We met with Pastor Jimmy Waboose this morning, and we're just going to speak with the vice principal at the school and share a little bit more about Waasaya North Bible Camp. And it's a pleasure to be here, and we just love Barbara and her son Joel and her mom Harriet, so we're glad to be here.
And Miss Hardy for being the good tour guide.
Yes.
What do you guys think of this thing? Small?
Yeah, they think you and I are pretty tight in here.
Small for sure.
Looks like a toy.
All right, we just finished up at Fort Hope. Met some great people. Oh, we got the old dog right there. Man, there are a lot of dogs here. Weather's beautiful. What am I doing over here? What are you guys doing over there? Yeah?
We're at the Fort Hope Airport. There's the Canadian flag. Oh, Canada. We're here with Pete. There's Pete. This is Glenna here. Hi, Glenna. Hi. There's Glenna and there's Barbara. And I'm Rick. Anyway, we got a gift here. Look, Glenna and Barbara gave us each one.
Chimigwich.
There you go. Say it right.
Chimigwich.
Yep, Chimigwich.
Chimigwich?
Go buffoon. No, you're learning your Ojibwe, Pete. We're proud of you.
A little bit.
Wabamen, Minowa, say goodbye.
Minowa.
Say goodbye.
Chimigwich. Well, Rick, we had a successful trip to Fort Hope.
Yes, sir, we did. We're just taking off now. I'm heading to Nakina, then to Martin Falls.
People are starting to know about the camp.
Yeah, building bridges for camp for sure. People are interested. A lot of people we know here already, and a lot of kids that are going to be coming next summer. So praise the Lord for that.
Right. After shaking as many hands as we could and expending all of our camp literature, we pointed ourselves back to Nakina to gas up. We had plans to visit a small village just to the northeast, Ogoki, or better known as Martin Falls, but a lot of these places are invitation only, and we had to go back to fill up the airplane with fuel because our range was a bit limited, and in that time, our invitation had actually closed. And in times like this, all you can do is settle down, step back, and pray. Lo and behold, we got a response the next morning from a pastor in Armstrong, a village just to the west. Armstrong is accessible by both road and rail, but it's either a 5-hour drive on a bush road or an hour flight to go and visit. Pastor Clinton Satio and his family were not only eager to hear about the camp, they invited us over for coffee and lunch. Just because of distance, I don't think Rick had seen these guys in over 5 years. And the kids had what we like to call the Lego Museum, more Legos than I've ever seen in my life. Filled with coffee and once again depleted of promotional material, we went back to Nakina. Aside from the people, one of the things I really enjoy about taking trips like this is the little thumbprints of God that you see. You can't tell me there wasn't a creator who drew that out. Excited, thankful, and encouraged, it came time that we finally had to part ways. I pointed myself southward, and Beardmore got their pastor back. Now, Canada is absolutely beautiful, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to go again because I didn't see any moose. It's funny how much faster the trip is coming home, whether you're driving or flying. Before I knew it, I was back in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, even had the chance to visit some friends. Endless as that horizon is, I eventually found myself in familiar territory once again. My home airport of Campbell. Did I ever enjoy the trip? But I cannot describe the relief when that prop stopped turning. It's good to be home. There's no way around it. Airplanes are awesome. But let's take this Navion for example. When this thing came out of the factory, this was the slickest airplane that money could buy. Think of the brand new Sirrus that you see on the ramp today, but look at it now. Rusted, faded, and decrepit. Guys, even the nicest things on this earth, even our Cessna 120, one day, it'll be just like this, just a rotting pile of parts. The Bible describes the things of this world as grass that withers and chaff that the wind blows away. But the one thing that'll never let you down, and it doesn't matter whether you're here in the United States, a person up in northern Canada, or the far reaches of Africa, or the islands of the Philippines. If you put your trust in Jesus Christ, both your trust in salvation, for Him paying for your sin, and your trust in Him as your Lord and Savior, He's the one thing that'll never let you down. Your rock, your fortress, and your high tower. Your cornerstone, your present help in the time of trouble. As awesome as airplanes are, make sure that your trust isn't in these things, that these aren't your treasures. Make sure that your treasure is in Jesus Christ. Now that same message that you guys heard is the same reason why we do all of this. Jesus, His love, and the people who haven't heard this message yet, especially Rick with his camp that he's managed over these years. This spring, we want to target another 5 to 7 communities that are even farther north. We can't thank you guys enough for your support. If you'd like to be a part of this effort, feel free to check out the links below to see how you can get involved.